greatest piece of advice that you've ever received?
Rising tides lift all boats.
There you go.
So that was originally spoken by John F. Kennedy many years ago. But what it really means is, and this is the way, and there's different interpretations of what this means, but it means that as you're better, you're lifting everybody else around you. So as Tim Markland team has this wonderful success, and you've helped this family, and you're getting these praise and different commendations, and people are showing appreciation for that win or that success. Well, you're lifting the whole team, right? You're lifting not just the team, but the whole brokerage, the whole, as you win, the community wins.
Right.
And so that, I always take that to mean that, I have a lot more on the line here than just myself.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Tim here with the Markland Advantage of Berkshire Hathaway PenFed Realty and your TMA connection. It's a local podcast that focuses on the life of others who are making a huge difference in the lives of others, whether it's in our community and real estate and just everything, man. And today I'm super excited because this is the first time I've ever met our guest. I've seen him on social media so much, and I like a lot of the content that he's putting out, super authentic. And so we have Rick Metzgar. He's with Coastal Lending Group. He's been in the business for over 20 years, and today we're going to be covering tips to help us navigate this spring market. Rick, welcome to the show, my friend.
It's a pleasure.
Dude,
it's incredible.
I am really excited about this. I like what you're communicating out there. I like the message that you're putting out. And I think that there's going to be a lot of value, not only for buyers in this market, but I think real estate agents too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I gave the little bit of intro to, but outside of the lending industry, who is Rick Metzgar?
I am husband, father, 3 sons.
3 sons.
I hit the trifecta. What can I say?
Wow. 3 daughters here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And my brother has 3 daughters. So,
oh my goodness.
I had the 3 boys. He got the 3 girls. And that's just how the universe worked it out. And, for me, I love sports. I love golf. I love all things hanging out with the family, hitting that, balance with the kids and just enjoying all the different stages. My oldest is 17. My middle one is almost 13. My youngest is 4. So
let's go.
I've got it all covered. So.
Gosh, wow. Yeah, we have a 20, a 19-year-old, and then the 13-year-old.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and she is something else too, man. That's awesome. So you're a family man. You're a working man. You're getting after it out there. You've been around for 20 years.
Yes, sir.
And let's get right into some good questions here.
Yeah.
Looking at the real estate industry and the mortgage industry today, there are buyers out there who reflect back on the early 2000s or the late 2000s when the market crashed in 2007, 8, and 9, and they're scared. Right? Yeah. They're scared of that happening again with the demand being so heavy right now. How is now different from when you were going through that crash back in the 2000s?
Absolutely. So to give some backdrop, and this is important, it comes down to underwriting standards being much stronger now in this environment. And that began to change as a result of that crash that you hear about, where values go down, massive foreclosures. And it really comes down to the products that were being underwritten during that stage of time were what they would call hybrid ARMs. So a hybrid ARM means that it was an adjustable rate mortgage that would essentially give a borrower different payment options. And one of the payment options actually had what they call negative amortization. Negative amortization means that when you even make whatever that minimum payment,
right,
your balance is essentially growing. It is going up. So the type of products that were being underwritten then are not being underwritten now. So you've got a stronger and more viable mortgage product, right? But however, leading up to that crash, there was a lot of different aspects to the business, aspects to the industry that have been addressed. Okay. And this is an encouragement, I think, to, and I think about an agent now who maybe have come in 2015, 16, 17, back in those days, when I first came in the industry in 2003, it was an environment where even as a lender, a broker or lender, I could pick up the phone and essentially call Joe Smith appraiser. And because we ordered the appraisals, right? We were we were that like middle go-between.
Yep.
And we had the direct contact with the appraiser. So I could say, Joe, I need this appraisal to come in at 350.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm literally telling that appraiser, this is what we need.
Right.
That was the environment. That was the,
and certainly if I'm Joe the appraiser and the bank and the people that are paying me are saying that this appraisal needs to come in at this value, and I don't bring it in at that value, are they going to reach out to me as the Joe the appraiser anymore?
No way.
No way. Yeah.
So you have that going on. In addition to that, you have there's no licensing at this time for lenders and brokers. So let's think about this. You're acting as a fiduciary of one of the most, the highest loan that someone will ever get, likely in their lifetime, the strongest investment, and there's no vetting. The state is not doing any vetting.
Anybody can get a loan.
Not only anybody can get a loan, but anybody can come in the industry and act as the professional.
Right.
No background checks. You had essentially people that even had white collar crime on their record, able to just come in the industry.
Yeah.
So those, when you refer to the days of the wild, that's what we call the days of the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
And so then in 2008, as things began to, collapse, and they begin to, let's call it, peel back the onion and look at the whole system. Fundamentally, it was flawed because it had all these layers of everything we just talked about. So they introduced Dodd-Frank. Dodd-Frank was legislation that now, since that time, requires lenders and individual originators, just like a licensed realtor has to go through the state, has to go through their own vetting.
Yep.
That was introduced, and immediately a third of the, bad actors were eliminated.
Okay.
Because if you have a felony of any kind, you could not get licensed.
Oh, wow.
So, yes, they lost their jobs, but they probably didn't need to be in the industry in the first place. Because think about it, they're placing people in loans that were going to hurt them. Hurt their financial future, hurt their family, put them in difficulty.
Right.
So when all those changes came into play, we began to immediately see a healthier environment, right?
Okay.
Higher quality of individuals, a higher level of folks that are a part of the industry, people that are going to take a pause and say, you know what? Maybe this loan isn't right for them. Let's try this option, or let's and it's just a really good practice,
right?
To really take it slow, instead of fast.
Yeah. Now the one thing that you mentioned too was that the appraisers and the bank were talking to each other back then.
Right.
So now what is now in place that is different so that doesn't happen again?
Okay. Yep. So there's an appraisal management agency now that's an independent agency that is. We place an order for the appraisal, but it goes to that independent agency.
Okay.
And there's essentially a wall up. Lenders can have no contact with the appraiser at all.
Okay.
Now, the real estate agent, like the listing agent, they can meet them upon the inspection and everything, but you're not talking about a lender saying, hey, listen, this is what we need.
Yeah, yeah.
None of that's there.
Yep.
If anything, the listing agent is just there to maybe, be a acting, liaison to give them the tour of the property, or remind them of different upgrades or updates that have been done since maybe the data that they have.
Right.
So
right.
It's simple communication, but it's been, we're essentially blockaded, know. Yeah. Which is a good thing.
It's a good safety triangle,
yes,
So everything goes through that independent agency,
And that now in saying that, they even have a process to have an appraisal rebuttal, which is I think important to mention too. So if there is a rebuttal, there's also a process where we have to provide comps to that independent agency
to say, hey,
look, let's it's called a reconsideration of value.
Okay.
But even at that, I'm not even mentioning what that value should be.
Correct.
We're saying, hey, you're off on the square footage. That you said this was an amount above grade. No, actually, it's 1,100 square foot above grade.
Sure.
Or whatever. So,
yeah. I mean, if you can definitely find something that's factual, that's objective, that was just completely off.
Correct.
But nothing, basically with an appraisal, it's an educated, subjective opinion.
Right.
So sometimes they do fall in short, and the sellers are like, what? But it has to be something that was glaringly, like they missed bedrooms or bathrooms or square footage or something like that.
Well, and now things are more relational. So as a loan officer, in the I say the old days, but back in that environment, it was like, you've heard the Wolf of Wall Street. So you had environments that were more like call centers, and there was no one-on-one contact. So there was a lack of empathy or understanding that this is a real live person on the other end of this loan.
Right.
That's going to have to live with the consequences of whatever, the results of those decisions for whatever that loan product.
Sure. Yeah.
Now it's more relational.
Yeah. So if you have all these things in place right now, and we've been in a market where there's been very low inventory, there's been high demand, prices have risen over the years. It seemed to peak out in June, and then kind of went down, especially December kind of slowed down a little bit. But as we're going into the spring market, it's kind of getting competitive again. Like we're kind of going back up that way.
Yes, sir.
In your experience, because you've been in this since 2003, I've only been in since 2015. If everything with mortgages are now regulated, how do we move from a seller's market into a buyer's market? Great
question. So this is, and I've put a lot of thought into this, and I've actually been implementing it. Okay. So I'm going to give a scenario of a real live situation in the past 90 days that has brought inventory to the market and created an opportunity.
Okay.
So as an agent, it's important to find ways that are going to provide an answer. And I'm using this for illustrative purposes for example, someone who calls and says, hey, listen, I want to downsize. My 4 kids are out of the nest now.
Yep.
Got this big Johnny house.
Yep.
But I don't want to re-enter the buyer's market. Well, I'm also a specialist in reverse mortgages.
Okay.
A lot of folks might not realize that you can do a reverse mortgage for purchase. So the elderly borrower calls. At this point, I'm already beginning to contemplate, okay, let's look at what we can do creatively here. He says, Rick, I'm 72 years old. At this point, I want to downsize. What options are there for me? Because I don't want to re-enter this 7%, 6.5%.
Yeah.
I'm going to become a buyer at this point.
Right.
Well, here's what I say. Let's put you in a reverse mortgage, which literally means you only have to put, and it's based on your age. So I'm literally creating an opportunity here where he's going to be able to preserve his cash flow.
Yeah.
You get a listing for the agent. Number 2, you get a buyer for the agent. So that's 2 transactions right there, right?
Right.
It's all relationship over transaction. I get that.
Yep.
But it's all about creating that opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, otherwise, if you don't understand the product availability, you'll take it and say, oh, he's right. It's so tough out there. maybe let's just hold off.
Sure.
We just held off on 2 possible deals. When if you really look at the domino effect, it's 3, 4, 5.
Right.
Because then you open up the new buyer and the new buyer, and you have a whole chain effect.
Right.
So a reverse mortgage is a great opportunity for the right person.
Yeah.
And they've regulated them now. Like, it used to have a negative connotation, like, oh, you're gonna possibly abuse someone who's older.
I hear people right now like listening saying that those words reverse mortgages has some kind of negative connotation from the past.
I get it, from the past, but they have implemented guidelines that set limits on protection for their heirs. So upon their passing away, they're able to have up to 12 months for that heir to either pay off that reverse or, number 2, sell the home. There's a lot of protections with that.
Yeah.
And you used to be able to take out a lot more cash. Now they're limited. So they're preserving that equity piece as well. Okay. So it's essentially a win-win.
Yeah.
So this particular buyer and seller, so when he sold his home, he walks away with $250K on top of, now he doesn't have to make the payments on the house, but he has to make, obviously, his tax payment and insurance.
Yep.
But other than that, he's cash flowing.
Right.
So wow. I'm solving numerous, when I say problems, you know what I'm referring to, just, the concerns, right, of aging.
Right. It's awesome that there are opportunities, like you're saying, and there are creative ways to do that. And I think that the important thing is to communicate with somebody that's local, that is going to be able to provide you those options. Because ultimately, as a local realtor, local mortgage person, your reputation's on the line.
Correct.
So if you're calling some call center in the middle of Oklahoma, it's somebody that is not familiar with the area, familiar with products, familiar with these different creative opportunities.
Well, along with those lines too, it's required for counseling. So when you're over 62, you're pursuing a reverse mortgage, you're required to get counseling.
Okay.
And during that process, if there's any questions or concerns of their mental competency or any of those questions, they can even request a doctor's note that validates that they're making, a competent and informed decision.
Sure.
So that's important too. We're adding that value. And it's just another, again, we're talking about opportunities here, right? Where we're creating, opportunity to spark inventory, right? And that's just a creative option where now the agent does not need to essentially tell someone to pause or to wait. We can do something right now.
Yeah. So we're moving into, by the time this actually airs, we're right now in the middle of March 21st. Happy birthday, Mom.
Yes.
And so we're probably going to be in the middle of April when this comes out. So we're going to be into the second quarter. Second quarter? Would that be the second quarter? Second quarter.
Yep.
That would be the second quarter. What, as we're starting to navigate this spring market, I want to really talk about, let's say 3 tips for buyers or even buyers agents that can help us stay sane.
Absolutely.
Give me a little bit of a counseling session here.
Sure.
The 3 tips that are going to help buyers and buyers agents be successful in the coming spring.
I can't overemphasize the importance of strong agent rapport. And keeping that rapport, because you never know when another agent that you're going to meet is going to be on the other side of a transaction. Right?
Okay.
And so it's important that you're leaving a strong impression. Hey, I like Tim. He's excellent. He's carrying himself he's sharp. He's so nice. He's courteous. He's nice to my secretary. He's nice to
it coming.
He's nice
keep
to
it coming.
He's nice to my admins. He's leaving that impression wherever he goes. He's tipping the servers. All those different things, right? That just makes someone have that strong reputation of trust and that's so important, because when you're in competitive situations and you've got 20, 30 bids, right? That rapport can be the deal maker.
Yeah.
I mean,
or the deal breaker.
Or the deal breaker. So that I just can't overemphasize the importance of that.
Yeah, right. No, there's no doubt. It's sometimes, when you have, two final offers that a seller is reviewing, and one, you've had a really good experience with that agent from the past, and the other one maybe not so great, or maybe you don't even know them. You know?
Right.
Sometimes that is the
and celebrating other agents' wins, right? So if we're talking to agents, right, like, it's okay to say, "Hey, congrats on that closing." Congrats. I mean,
sure.
Look, at the end of the day, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And as you celebrate the success of others, what you give out there is going to come back to you.
So true. So true.
That's
and we were talking about this just before we got on the mics. Is the looking at social media and seeing the success of other agents and not getting into that trap of comparison where you're because there are definitely times where you're flourishing and there's definitely times when things are a little bit slower, and truly reaching out or congratulating or supporting the people when they're winning is just a testament of character and really just your days will come. Even though if you might be in a lull, it's like just get out there and just support one another.
Right.
I
mean, your win does not translate to my loss.
Yeah.
And I think and if you look at my social media as well, like I'm authentic. I don't focus on just being so salesy and only showing the highlight reels.
Right.
I mean, there's days where I'll post and say, "Man, what a tough day."
Right.
And I might elaborate, obviously leaving out any client name or any,
sure.
But it's more of like, this happened or that happened. I want others to see like, hey, this is authentic. This is, it's the hustle, it's the grind.
Yeah.
And there are days, like you said, you have super wins and you can have super losses.
Sure.
And that's a part of it.
But isn't that a part of it? Like,
I mean,
if there's
really
no
is.
failure, there's only learning lessons.
And I trust me, I've had my moments where I've said, wow,
I've learned a lot. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, but I win every time because I'm either winning by learning or I'm winning by the success of, that outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So,
and you got to look at the wins. There's wins all around you every day. You just got to look for it. Sometimes we're so distracted with the scroll and we're just not taking notice of like miracles that are all around us every single day.
Right.
Just got to take notice.
Having an abundance mindset.
Yes. That is
when I in the first few years of being in real estate, I can remember like seeing somebody that I know that was standing there with another agent with a sold sign. It's like, oh man.
Right.
But you get to a point where, especially in our community,
yes, sir,
there's so many good real estate agents out there, and there's so many different relationships that you may or may not know about. So you know what? Awesome. They were able to buy a house or they were able to sell their home. They did it with somebody at a different brokerage, and God bless them. That's awesome. It took a while, but I'm now at that point where it's okay because there's plenty of people out there, and there are people that are choosing me and not choosing somebody else, and that's not to disrespect somebody else.
Nope.
No, it's just who do you feel comfortable with, and
and here's my thing, right? Find that person that might be more successful or is more successful. Take them to lunch, get a coffee. I mean, because so often they're hated on and they're getting so much blowback and criticism.
Yeah.
They'll welcome the opportunity that someone is actually saying, "Hey, can we go to coffee? What tips do you have?"
Yes.
That maybe I can implement in my business, and they would love to share that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've learned, the other evening, we were at the MMBBA, and one of the things that's important that I love is being a part of different boards and things in the community that are actually, doing, contributing big value to the industry and the community. We celebrated a gentleman, Mr. Rich Green, from Presidential Bank, who's been in the industry for 47 years.
Wow.
I mean, I've been in it 20, and I'm thinking, wow, 47 years, but I sat down with him and he gave me some tips. Just, it's just good for that collaboration and there's always people you can get around to learn from. Always.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, there's some very prominent real estate agents in this area that I've been able to sit down and learn from that didn't have to give me the time of day. And they're not trying to recruit me to their brokerage or whatever.
Right.
They're just genuinely willing to help and give advice and tips and stuff like that.
But you have to ask for it. Like a big, and let me just say this, and it's an encouragement to, agents, title reps, people that are out there and they're in the grind and the hustle, is sometimes we stop short of the close. Mm-hmm. You have to be clear on what you want, right? So being able to look at someone and say, this is what I want from you.
Yeah.
And when you call that person or when you interact with them, let them know up front, hey, I'm just letting you know this is an ask.
Yeah.
I need this or I need, and this is what I'm asking from you.
Right.
I'm looking for, $1,000 donation for SARC, right?
Okay.
Or, whatever local organization, like things like that you're involved in, you got to be able to ask for it. You got to,
What do you think holds people back from that ask?
Fear, 100%.
Yeah.
Fear of rejection.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that is so real.
Right.
Because think about it. If you're already in the position and let's say you're going into a listing appointment, let's think of it this way.
Okay.
At this point, you don't have the listing yet.
Right.
You're getting ready for the presentation.
Yeah.
So what do you have to lose? I mean,
you didn't have it before you came in.
You didn't have it before you came in.
Yeah.
So you go in and you just, I just always say, like, leave it all on the field.
Yeah.
Like every time.
Right.
And if you don't have it then, I mean, I just think that fear of rejection is it just eats people alive sometimes.
Yeah.
What do people think about me?
Right.
You
know what? I think I'm getting to the point. I still struggle.
We all do, right? We're not all Teflon Don, and
Teflon Don.
I think sometimes we present that armor, right? In sales, where it's like, man, I gotta be, I gotta look like I'm in charge, and no, I mean, you gotta show enough vulnerability and authenticity.
Yeah, right.
To win.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a certain level of good nervousness that going into an appointment, going into something new, listing appointment.
Of course, and that's
but
good,
ultimately you can't let that cripple you either. It's like, okay, it's time to write. And hey, look, maybe our personalities won't match, and maybe they don't hire me, and that's okay. That's okay. Are you bummed for a little bit? Maybe. Or maybe not.
And let's ask, and being able to ask the tough question, if they don't choose you, I think about Steve Jobs years ago, who said the comment along the lines of, I don't learn from my customers, I learn from those that weren't interested in my product. Being able to ask the tough question, say, listen, ma'am, sir, I was in your house for 45 minutes, I thought we were so thorough, or I thought, can you give me some feedback of what were those reasons that you didn't go with me, so that I'm giving myself an opportunity here
to learn
and to do better.
Yeah. And hopefully that they're willing to be open and actually give you the full truth as to why they are not going with you. Because sometimes
they don't, but you get, and being able to accept that constructive feedback, it's hard sometimes, but if someone's got it, if you don't accept it and try to implement those critiques,
sure,
you won't learn.
And it is all about learning. Wow.
Okay,
so we asked for 3 tips, and then we just went into this grandiose
of course.
Counseling session there. Did we hit 3 tips?
We got 2 more, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that was number 1.
That was number 1.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so this is going to be a Joe Rogan podcast at this point, 3 hours long. All right, what's number 2?
Number 2, pre-approval first up front every time.
Okay, yes.
And when I say this, I like to refer to this as backwards underwriting. Mm-hmm. So, in other words, when whichever agent is presenting this client to me, before there's any offer, before they've even gone out to the house, not only have I collected the documents, we're having our underwriters pre-review the whole stack of the docs before they've even presented an offer. And so years ago, it was like, you put in the offer, then all the hard work starts.
Right.
But by re-engineering that process, the whole 30-day close or 15-day close is like smooth sailing.
Yes.
We're done. We're done the hard stuff.
Yes.
We know.
Yeah. That's so important.
Yeah.
When somebody's been fully
Fully
underwritten
vetted.
and approved
Right.
versus just a cursory pre-qualification look at their, what they said that they make and what
And
they
that's
said.
when you call me and you say, hey, listen, but they asked for a 15-day close. Done.
You can do it.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Boom. And that can be the difference. It's not always the highest.
It's not always about the money.
It's
about the conditions of your offer.
Correct.
And if somebody has a motivation that they need to get on and move, that could very well win the offer.
And the third one is really vet the lender. Sometimes lenders come in from out of state or what have you, and to your point, when you're dealing with someone that might be a telemarketing company or whoever out, basically a call center in Detroit.
Yeah.
They're not local here. If
Right.
you need them on a Saturday afternoon, you can't call them directly.
Can't. And when does real estate business take place?
On the weekends.
Right.
So, my Saturday and Sunday is someone else's Monday and Tuesday.
Yes.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I post about that. Hey, listen, when other people are out drunk at the bar, call me.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready and willing and I'm prepared.
So you were working on St. Patrick's Day. You weren't at Looney's.
Correct. Yeah, I was working, but that's important because it's that availability. It's so important. Years ago, I worked for a big company, MBNA, okay? Big credit card corporation, and we were graded on what they used to call the 2-ring pickup.
Okay.
And so part of what we were actually graded on was not letting the phone ring beyond 2 rings.
Interesting.
So that kind of stayed with me.
Yeah.
And I'm always, most people know when they're calling me, I'm picking up on that second ring.
That's so challenging for me because when I don't know that number.
It doesn't always, right? I get that there's some slippage.
Yeah.
But I'm letting them know, hey, I'm in a meeting, or hey,
Sure.
I'm available. And that's,
It's good if you have their number programmed in your phone. It's when you get those random ones.
Of course.
It's Sabrina that wants to sell me life insurance.
Right. I get it.
Oh, I can't
Man,
stand
it's
it.
hard. That's tough.
That's why I don't cold call.
Right, I know.
I can't do it because I don't appreciate it myself.
Let me give a little secret sauce, because I want to add value to your folks too, and to your team, and to different agents. Sometimes we sometimes think that text and DMs on Facebook or Instagram, might be a little like awkward or weird. But listen, we live in such a digital age. Mm-hmm. I've turned a lot of what used to be cold calling into a DM, right? To someone's instant messenger, DM, boom. And that's important because what you're doing there is it's essentially a cold call. You're reaching out.
Right.
But
I want to, in a way, I want to reach out and say,
of course,
how can I serve you? How can I help you?
Of course. And video content, all those other things that you do add to that, right?
Right.
I'm just giving more of one little tip that people can take with them that we overlook sometimes.
Well, and the truth of the matter is that people are on their social media quite a bit. That's where people are now. People have their phones in front of them, and whether it's YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, that's where people are, and that's where you got to meet them at.
That's it. At the end of the day, that's I've been challenged even this year. My goal is to have 10 different pieces of content on 5 different platforms every day.
Wow.
Think about it: Facebook, IG, Twitter, LinkedIn, content.
Are you on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok.
Yes.
And I'm Mortgage Father on TikTok. So
that's awesome.
And that's just, again, when someone hears that amount, they might think, oh, are you overwhelming your database? And it's actually that it doesn't feel that way to the audience because there's so many different platforms, right?
Have you systematized your social media presence?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have certain times of the day that's the best time to post, or certain things that you learn a little bit, algorithms. But I also like to throw off the algorithm and sometimes just post, in any random time. So it's
sometimes
not just,
it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it does. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. All right. Well, let's hit you with the final 5 to wrap this up.
Yep.
Some good personal, some good business questions here for you. You're married to Sarah, is that
Sarah,
correct?
yep.
Sarah Metzger.
Yes.
What's going on?
Yeah, so she is by day, she's a fundraiser for Towson University.
Okay.
And she went to Hollins University, English major, then attended George Washington University to receive her, work on her MBA.
Okay.
So she's been in development and fundraising now for about 17 years.
Oh, wow.
So
wow.
We have we're both in sales, but just in a different way.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So we learn from each other, both professionally, personally, in different ways. And we lean on each other too. So we're always giving each other different, ways to sharpen each other.
Okay. All right. So you get out of the office.
Yeah.
She's out of work.
Yeah.
You actually see each other.
Yes,
right?
we do.
Okay. And you guys want to go out on a date. You got the 3 kids, but
Yeah,
you're
of course.
going to leave them
Right.
at home.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So it's date night.
Date night.
With the Metzgers.
Yep.
Where are you guys going in Harford County?
Lib's Grill.
Lib's Grill.
Love Lib's.
That's at the corner of 543 and 22,
Yep.
right?
And it's new.
Yeah.
It's got some cool vibes and nice environment, good food. Excellent service. Their service is wonderful.
I've heard,
and it's just local, right?
You are like the 8th person that has said Lib's Grill has amazing service. Yeah,
I mean,
it's that I've heard, and I'm sure there's many more because
right.
they do.
Or Pairings Bistro. We enjoy Pairings as well.
Pairings is a favorite of ours.
Yes.
Yep. And that's awesome.
What I like about enjoyed about Pairings is you can bring your little puppy outside.
On their little porch with
porch.
the
Right. I mean, it's just.
They've completely renovated their center bar right there.
That's amazing.
And they got the market.
Yep.
It is phenomenal. Awesome. We'll tag both of them in this in our social media.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's one habit that you do on a daily basis that brings you the most success?
For me, I'm a man of faith, so prayer and meditation.
Okay.
And so it's important. Again, I'm not being super religious here. Obviously, we respect every, but for me, it just puts me in that like reflective, grateful mindset, to start my day.
Yeah.
So that little prayer just makes me stop and if someone who might not be religious, take a moment to appreciate and be grateful. That grateful mindset will really, it helps you just interact with people.
Focus on what you have and not what you
don't have. Yeah, it's just that mindset. So that's every day, and speak words of life and encouragement to people. It takes 10 seconds in line, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to encourage someone.
Just be the source of positivity.
Positivity. That's one of the pillars of our company. Positive energy.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. All right. If you weren't in the mortgage let me slow down there. Wow, got so excited.
Right.
If you weren't in the mortgage industry and you had the opportunity to do any job in the world, what would you be doing?
I would be a rock star. Absolutely.
Yeah?
I love music is the way to me. I mean, music is...
Do you play?
I don't play.
Okay.
I used to, but I haven't really kept up.
Okay.
Drums, big, drummer.
Okay.
So I love, the group. My favorite band is Toto.
Okay.
I mean, just... all time.
All right.
During COVID, I actually, because I gave a donation to like a starving artists foundation.
Okay.
They did a 5-minute Zoom call with the different people that donated.
Oh.
So, and so I did. I just was like, wow, that would be really cool to actually talk to them and do a Zoom.
So you talked to Toto.
I talked to the whole band. Incredible.
That is pretty awesome.
Luke Cather, Joe Williams, John the whole band. It was just David Paich. So, you think of songs like Rosanna and Hold the Line. And I love music. So I would love to be up there on the stage.
I'm feeling it. That's awesome. Greatest piece of advice that you've ever received?
Rising tides lift all boats.
There you go.
So that was originally spoken by John F. Kennedy many years ago. But what it really means is, and this is the way, and there's different interpretations of what this means, but it means that as you're better, you're lifting everybody else around you. So as Tim Markland team has this wonderful success, and you've helped this family, and you're getting these praise and different commendations, and people are showing appreciation for that win or that success. Well, you're lifting the whole team, right? You're lifting not just the team, but the whole brokerage, the whole, as you win, the community wins.
Right.
And so that, I always take that to mean that, I have a lot more on the line here than just myself.
Okay.
I'm representing an industry, right? We're representing the best of what it means to, build, with Maryland housing, So rising tides lift all the boats.
I love that. And being in the position that we're in and the success that we have seen has been attributed to the support of our team, our clients, the people that refer us. I mean, it's just, and remembering that,
absolutely,
we're not, by no means will I ever say I got here on my own.
Oh, of course, right?
Heck no.
We're all the product of so many mentors and folks that pour into us. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. What's one goal that you have not achieved yet that you would like to achieve in the next 10 years?
I want to go to Israel. Holy Land tour.
Oh, wow.
That's a lifetime dream and goal.
All right.
And obviously with the commitment of being father and being present and things of that nature, it's kind of hard to go away for 12 days, right? Because it's a 12-day type of jaunt. So I'm trying to work toward that here in the next couple years.
In the next couple years.
Next couple years.
You got to put it on the calendar.
I know, right? We got to
You got to make it happen. Right? You got to solidify it.
I know. We got
on this day. I'm going to Israel.
I'm going. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
How can people connect with you?
All through social media is the easiest way.
Okay.
Rick Metzgar
on Facebook,
Mortgage Father on Instagram and on TikTok.
Okay.
And Coastal Lending Group. You can look us up online, coastallg.com.
Okay.
Easy. So that those are pretty much the best ways to get to reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many knowledge bombs that have been dropped today, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
You said you were bringing the fire, man. Right. You brought the fire.
Absolutely.
You brought the heat, man.
So this is exciting. Thank you. I'm honored and privileged to be here and share with your audience and the community and your team, and it means a lot.
Well, thank you. Reach out to Rick on those social media platforms. Check out his TikTok. If you want to follow us, we're on Facebook and Instagram at the Markland Advantage, and we are on TikTok at TMA Real Estate.
There we go. Absolutely.
So check that out.
Incredible.
there. And of course, you know where to find us if you have any questions about real estate or anything otherwise. And of course, if you know somebody that's doing phenomenal things in the community, we want to talk to them, whether it's real estate or whether it's anything. We're here to share the love and support others by personal growth.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
This is awesome. Until next time, folks, live your life to the fullest, and we'll see you soon. Take care.